ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। In this session, we'll be discussing from the 42nd verse of the 15th chapter of the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. त्रित्वे हुत्वा च पंचत्वं तच्चैकत्वे अजुहोन् मुनिः सर्वम् आत्मनि अजुहवीत् ब्रह्मणि आत्मानम् अव्यये. The meaning of this verse is, thus annihilating the gross body of five elements into the three qualitative modes of material nature, he merged them in one nescience and then absorb that nescience in the self, Brahman, which is inexhaustible in all circumstances. Now, this is a highly technical description of how Yudhishthira Maharaj freed himself from all material attachments. But Srila Prabhupada explains very nicely in the purport how to understand this process that Yudhishthira Maharaj is applying. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, all that is manifested in the material world is a product of the Mahat Tattva Avyakta, and things that are visible in our material vision are nothing but combinations and permutations of such variegated material products. So, the basic understanding is, I am not this body, and this body is one of the many different products of the material elements which are generated at the beginning of the creation out of the material energy called Mahat Tattva Avyakta. Material energy in its dormant condition, inactive state, is Avyakta. And when it is activated at the beginning of creation by the glance of Mahavishnu, it becomes Mahat Tattva. The state in which the material energy becomes activated. Activated means the three gunas start working, and those three gunas, they interact with the Mahat Tattva and produce so many material elements. And those material elements are combined to form this variegated material universe. Different products, different material objects, and different bodies, everything. So now, whatever we see in our material vision is nothing but the combination of different material objects or products. But the living entity is different from such material products. They are completely different from the body, from the mind, from the intelligence, from the false ego, from the material objects, varieties of material objects. We are completely different from all that. Further, Srila Prabhupada says, it is due to the living entity's forgetfulness of his eternal nature as eternal servitor of the Lord and his false conception of being a so-called Lord of material nature that he is obliged to enter into the existence of false sense enjoyment. It's a very fundamental statement Prabhupada is making here to help us understand why this material existence, why this false sense enjoyment. It is because of our forgetfulness of our eternal nature. I am eternal spirit soul, and as eternal spirit soul, I am eternal servant of Krishna, or servitor of Krishna, or devotee of Krishna, eternally. And also, not only I forget my eternal position as eternal devotee of Krishna, but I also have got a wrong conception that I want to be the Lord of material nature. I want to be the Lord. There is only one Lord, that is Krishna. Material nature, spiritual nature, living entities, everyone, everything, Krishna is the only Lord. Ekala Ishvara Krishna. Nobody else is Lord. All others are very, very, very tiny, insignificant living entities. So this tiny living entity simply foolishly desires, I want to be the Lord of material nature. Then you're forced to enter into the existence of false sense enjoyment. Why false? Because it is a concoction for your sake. It is temporarily created and enabled. So Prabhupada next says, thus a concomitant generation of material energies is a principal cause of the mind's being materially affected. Our actual mind is materially affected, because of which there is a need for so many different material products to be generated to give us the facility for the mind to be materially affected. Thus, the gross body of five elements is produced. Birth means what? A gross body of five elements, combination of five elements, is produced in the mother's womb. Actually, there is no need of this gross body if we are not having any material engagement. For spiritual life, there is no need. But our present condition is material life. So for that, this is necessary. So Prabhupada explains, Maharaj Yudhishthira reversed the action and merged the five elements of the body in the three modes of material nature. The beginning of creation, the three modes of material nature combined, interacted and produced the different bodies. Now this body which is generated by a combination of the three gunas, interaction, it has to be reversed so that the body will go back to the three gunas. The qualitative distinction of the body as being good, bad or mediocre is extinguished when the body is dismantled. Then there is no question of whether the body is good or bad or it is in between. So we know that the body sometimes when it is a healthy condition or very nice body. The same body when it becomes diseased and gives us pain or suffering, or I don't like this body. Or identifying the body with some possessions. I have so many different varieties of things to enjoy. Oh, very nice body. But if I don't have many things that I desire to enjoy with, then this body is not a very nice body. Like that, We have our own conception of body being good, bad, or mediocre. But all these are irrelevant, these distinctions between different types of bodies, when the body itself we think is unnecessary, anartha, superfluous. It is unwanted. Then when the body is unwanted, then the body becomes merged in the material energy. That means body means the elements. Body is transformed into the elements. And the elements become, go to the reservoir of all the elements. When one is thus inclined to become an associate of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, in one of the innumerable planets of the spiritual sky, especially in Goloka Vrindavana, one has to think always that he is different from the material energy. The whole thinking process has to completely change. No more thinking in terms of material body, material enjoyment, material activities, material relationship, none of those. So one has to always think that I am different from the material energy. I am completely spiritual. He has nothing to do with the material energy, and therefore he has to realize himself as pure spirit. Spirit is always pure, but I think otherwise. So that thinking has to change, has to completely be completely absorbed in the thought of I am pure spirit. And as pure spirit, I am qualitatively equal with the Supreme Brahman or the Parameshwara or the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Then, by such thought process, which is possible by training, by spiritual training, Prabhupada further explains, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after distributing his kingdom to Parikshit and Vajra, did not think himself the emperor of the world or head of the Kuru dynasty. See, when he gave away charge, he is no longer thinking, I am the emperor or I have got to do anything with ruling the kingdom. Because training, handing charge, everything is over. Parikshit is fully ready to take over. And he is taken over also when Yudhishthira Maharaj is handed over. Now, Yudhishthira Maharaj is not going to worry or be concerned how he is going to rule. What if he makes a mistake? What if he wants advice? Nothing. Because his job is over, his business is over, he is only thinking of going back to Godhead. This sense of freedom from material relations, as well as freedom from the material engagement of the gross and subtle encirclement, makes one free to act as a servant of the Lord, even though one is in the material world. Now, it is not that exactly when death comes, and obviously I have to leave this body, only then I become free from this body. No. Even before death comes, if I hand over charge of all my material duties and responsibilities to someone else, a younger person, then by engaging completely in devotional service, I get a freedom from all material relationships. All material relationships, I get freedom. No more material relationships. Then freedom from the entanglement or imprisonment in the material gross body of the five elements. The body is there, but I have no need for this body. neither I am concerned with any activities of this body, nor the activities of the material mind or the material intelligence. Not required. Though they are there. Before death they are there. But I don't require to use them. I don't require to engage them now. So this is complete freedom to act as servant of Krishna, devotee of Krishna. And for that the spiritual senses, the spiritual mind, the spiritual intelligence is very much required and is there as the devotee, as a pure devotee, it's there. So this is called liberated stage, even in the material world, Jivan Mukta. And Yudhishthira Maharaj actually attained that. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.